Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Sickos project, where I have some unfortunate and regretting news. I once owned the Annoying Orange series on DVD growing up. I hope this doesn't change your opinion on me going forward. I'm Bears fan.
Yes, and it should be. You know what? Listen. I understand the shame that comes with that, but you know what? It would make for a great jump scare. Truly, you can jump scare that with someone. Someone tries to break into your house, just show them that, and they will run away and never stop running away. But anyways, I am Nickman. This is truly the as you were about to see. This is a three-man band show. This is 3MB.
Oh, real
Yes, and
quick before.
before you ask, Mr. Titan, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Oh, real quick before we get into this, because this is off topic. I guess it is kind of sports related. So as you guys know, the Royal Rumble is tomorrow. But that's and of course CM Punk's going to be wrestling, but that's whatever. Before we started talking, before we started going on the podcast, we were just talking about old TV shows, and I was scrolling through the Mad Wiki, and I saw they had a sketch for CM Punk beds, and I just sent the video to Nick. I know we should
Mhm.
like get into the assembly shit, but like that was really funny just coming out of nowhere and seeing that.
Yeah, that's gonna be really funny for maybe a future video that may or may not be happening tonight.
Ooh, yeah, true, true. But back to the assembly. The Tennessee Titans, simply put, you had no expectations coming in, and you left with no expectations coming out.
Hmm. Well, let's look at your report card here. Let's look at your report card. Let's see. So you spent a lot in the off season. You lost Derrick Henry, but hey, you spent a lot in the off season trying to help your offense and your defense. And you won half the games you won in 2023. So, you do get the number one pick. Congratulations on that. Here's a bottle of mayo for you. You do get that. You also are probably going to be free from Will Levis soon, because from all reports, it seems like Will Levis has no future with the Titans. And yeah,
Simply
we want to
put,
look at what went wrong for you.
we're
Will Levis did.
separating. I was gonna say we're separating you and Will Levis from the class due to how to constant distractions that you guys admit during the field.
Yes, unfortunately, Will Levis falling on his knees and doing the surrender Cobra, distracted you on every test that you did this year, and simply put, the fact that you guys managed to get an F on all grades is quite impressive, but also truly hilarious as to how you could fail that badly. And that's not even getting into the fact that you are now, for the like the fourth straight season, actually no, not fourth straight, the third straight season, you are going to have a uneven GM and head coach pairing because, oh, let's look at this, you fired another general manager.
You don't care that your parents broke up. You need to do better in school.
Yes, this is, God, the Tennessee Titans are literally a foster child.
Simply, and you wonder why, and you wonder why we have such issues with you. You're very lucky you're not the next team that we're going to be talking about because we have real issues with them.
Yeah. Actually, hold on, before you leave and go back to your seat, there is one more thing that I just noticed this at the bottom of your report card. Just noticed this. Let's see. Let's put on the better pair of glasses here and see what this says. Since you made the AJ Brown trade back in 2022, AJ Brown has more Super Bowl appearances than Treylon Burks has receiving touchdowns. And just to put a little more salt in the wound for you, the Tennessee Titans, just to put a little more salt in the wound, fact checkers confirm this is true. Because Treylon Burks only has one receiving touchdown in his 3-year NFL career. And also should be said, AJ Brown has more Super Bowl appearances than Amy Adams has had press conference appearances. So congratulations! Take this report card, take this bottle of mayonnaise, and please, for the love of God, never show up with Will Levis ever again.
Well, now that we have them out of the way, it's time to contact the repeat offenders. Can the Cleveland Browns please come up on stage? All I'm gonna say is this, and this is all I feel that needs to be said. You are getting what you deserve right now, and I can't wait to see you back up on stage next year because this is what you deserve. I would tell you to learn better, but that would have to indicate that you have the ability to learn better.
Well, looking at this, looking at the dog pound, looking at what you have presented to me, how you managed to fail this season, how you managed to end up here. Well, this time you ended up because this season, like I said in my preview video, you wouldn't have Joe Flacco to save you from being the Factory of Sadness. And simply put, your hopes and dreams this season snapped like Deshaun Watson's Achilles. But anyways, simply put, with the Cleveland Browns, it's, you deserve. You know, you've been the troublemaker for the longest time. You've been so hated by so many people. And it's really sad because everyone used to root for you. Everyone wanted you to be that comeback kid. Everyone wanted you to prove everyone wrong. Prove that you are not the lovable loser anymore and that you are the lovable winner. But instead, you're not a lovable winner. You're just a piece of shit. That's what you are. There's no loser in you anymore because losers can at least be likable. You are a piece of shit. You are a waste of everyone's time. And simply put, just... God, what... I was thinking of something else to say. I had something else in mind with the Browns, but like... I mean, what can even be said? You'd probably wish you'd still be... you know what? If you're the Browns, I think you would have rather have gone 0-17 than ever experience the Deshaun Watson stuff ever again. I'm sure you would love to go back to rock bottom in the basement, because you know what? It'd be better being a loser than being someone that nobody likes and everyone thinks is a piece of crap. So congratulations, Cleveland. This is what you deserve.
Well, I said what I needed to say about them. I'll see them back next year. Now, can uh can can the can the New York Giants come up, please? Um, you know, there was an improvement. You went from frustratingly bad to just funny bad. And you know what? Despite the D minuses on your F card, on your report card, you didn't fail. You just barely passed the standards.
Yeah, you barely passed the standards of what qualifies as a football team. But you want to know something? You want to know something? The reoccurring derp. You know, you always get called the derp. You're back here again because unfortunately, 2022 feels like a million years away for you, and you know, maybe there is a way. Maybe there is a way to save the New York Giants. Maybe there is a way out. There is a way out for the Giants to find their way out and become a relevant football team. Relevant in a good way, not a bad way. But I look at the New York Giants, and I'm not even talking to them right now. I'm just speaking in general. This is just a take I've had saved for a while. I'm looking at the New York Giants right now, and I already have a prediction for next season. I have a prediction for the 2025 NFL season surrounding the New York Giants, and that prediction is I think Brian Dable's going to get the Matt Rule treatment.
Yeah.
Maybe not even maybe not even the first overall pick, just a pick good enough to get a quarterback. To get a quarterback you wanted. Very surprised. And don't forget, it didn't just happen with Saquon Barkley. Don't forget Xavier McKinney. I know Tree made a tweet about it. I know he mentioned it and all of that, but I don't know. Because I know Saquon, Leonard, Xavier McKinney. God, who else? Because the Giants have made so many mistakes. Granted, not the first regime of the New York Giants in the past decade to make a lot of mistakes, but sure doesn't feel like the last time we're gonna see that. Let's see. Guess what? I hope those nightmares
Coolers?
are. Hope those nightmares are great for you, John. But by the way, also regarding Saquon, I think it really says a lot about Saquon Barkley. How much better, like how much happier he looks playing for the Philadelphia Eagles versus how he looked for the New York Giants. Because simply put, it says a lot. Says a lot that hey, Saquon going to Philadelphia completely rejuvenated him, and it should say a lot about the Giants because it's like, who the hell wants to play for the New York Giants right now? Like, unless you're a draft pick, who the hell genuinely wants to play for this team? Oh, and by the way, the other guy that Tree mentioned, because he mentioned Saquon, mentioned Leonard Williams, Xavier McKinney. The other guy he mentioned was Julian Love. Yeah, and to quote what Josko said in chat, yeah, that win against the Colts, it may have just ruined their future. Like just like that win in 2023 against the Patriots, it costed them a shot at Drake May.
Well, New York, you're doing a real damn good job of coming up here. Uh, you keep on doing it. We're gonna start calling you mean names, but you know what? There was an attempt, and there was a somewhat improvement. You barely make it out of the bottom of the barrel. You still have a GPA of under 1.5, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. Now, get out.
Yes,
Up
go
next,
away and save your filth for the for a certain other New York / New Jersey team.
up next, um, uh, Mr. New England. I'm just gonna say this now. This is why we took that Mayo away from you and gave it to Tennessee. You're better than this.
But yeah, so New England, what we warned the Titans about this, and I get, you know what, we should have warned you about it. This is our fault. We should have warned you about it. This is why you don't overdose on mayo, because this season it shows what happens when you overdose on mayonnaise. And yeah, you guys really took it way too far this year. I mean, look, I don't. Nobody was expecting you to be good. And hey, you know what? For the first couple of weeks, you looked like a football team. You looked like a football team that knew what being competitive meant. But then, of course, like most teams in this situation that may look a little promising at the start of the year, reality punches them in the face. And yeah, it really shows. It really showed as the season went on. Like the Cardinals game for you, the Chargers game for you. Like it really showed that this team is it's not good. Not good at all.
But hey, you got Drake May. Congratulations, you got a shiny new lunch pail. You want to know you want to know who else got a shiny new lunch pail? Washington, Denver. And you want to know where they are? That's right, they're not here right now because they didn't have to. Simply put, you better treat that lunch pail with care, because if you don't, lots of people will be mad at you. You got a one of a
Mhm.
kind lunch pail.
Lots of people would also celebrate if you fuck it up. So hey, pressure's on you. Yeah, try and listen. You're the Patriots. You'd know how to trick these other teams. You would know how to trick a poverty franchise. But you're the Patriots. You might suck right now, but hey, you got that experience. You know how to outsync everyone. So listen,
Father was great in school, but now that you've been here, you've been nothing but a disappointment. You'll never break your father's rushing record, going like that.
yeah, listen. You might listen. You're not beating the fucking nepo baby allegations. That's what I mean.
Nepotism.
Nepotism. Yeah, you're not beating the nepotism allegations, New England. And listen, people are gonna keep hammering it down on you. Can you live up to your father's expectations? We don't know, but hey, you still got time to fix it. It's just this wasn't your year. Hopefully, next year goes better for you. Granted, I'm sure many people hope it doesn't go better for you, but that's not me. I'm just the guy running this.
Oh no, go sit down and simply put, tell your father I said hi. Wrong
Yeah,
team.
no, no. The Giants left it behind. That's what happened. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry
my
about
bad.
that. Sorry, you have to pick up the Giants' mess here.
Yeah. Up next, Mr. Jacksonville. Um, you are one of the most disappointing foreign exchange students I have seen in a while. We had such high hopes for you that we basically gifted you a shiny new lunch pail when you got here because we wanted you to succeed that badly. Not only did your lunch pail get injured this year, even though it wasn't your fault, but you had to take New England's old lunch pail and use that as your source for food. The old lunch pail that New England used. Want to know how disgusting that is?
Sick to my stomach.
And granted, the blow up last year was something. Is still somehow worse than this year, but this is a new low. I'd honestly have more respect for you if you did crack than what you did this season.
You want me to be honest with you, Jacksonville? You want me to be honest? I had to watch Matt Jones versus Aiden O'Connell in week 16, and I had to watch the Jaguars allow touchdowns to Alexander Madison and Amir Abdullah. I got to watch that live. I got to watch that. And simply put, God knows just how much worse this Jaguars team would be if you didn't have Brian Thomas Jr. on your offense. Because this was horrible. The fact that, it was said, the fact that you lost Trevor Lawrence, for the season, and you had to rely on Matt Jones is just despicable. Like, your fan base should be getting compensation for having to experience that. And it's not like this is the first time in your franchise history that your fan base has deserved compensation. But you want to know the funny thing? The funniest thing about the Jaguars, and I see you holding that neck brace. I see you holding that neck brace that Tony Khan gave to you. I see that. The funniest thing about the Jaguars is the fact that it took you a while to give us your final report card. It took a couple of weeks longer than anyone needed it to be. Because, listen, I know we're talking about the 2024 season, but Jesus Christ, the Trent Baalke situation was hilarious.
Why are you so obsessed with trying to tell yourself that you're right when everyone around you is laughing at you saying that you're wrong? Simply put, you're allowed to have your own opinions however you want. But to have the opinion that soda tastes better, that soda is drinking more soda is better for you than water is easily laughable. And you got
You're the
clowned
same
on it.
kid. You're the same kid that pissed your pants in class, and you smiled about it. You were proud of that, and you
You,
thought that doing that was making everyone live rent free. But no, all it did was make you look like a clown, and everyone in your family is wearing clown makeup.
you, I, your father graduated from Clown University, and you're following right behind him. I guess he was right. It is going to stay in the family business. Oh, we're not giving the lunch pail to Seattle, Luke. We can't take people's lunch pails away from one another. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if things go well, you might be able to get Travis Hunter. But until that
Yes.
happens, uh do better. It's a shame that you are the second you are the least disappointing team that we've had to talk about in this division.
Yeah. Take your here's your clown wig and here's your clown shoes and go back to your seat. Because history shows us that whenever you have to see people call you clowns, see people wear clowns because of you, because of your incompetence, you do make the playoffs. So maybe, Luke, you mentioned it. Maybe the solution is The Jaguars fans just need to wear the clown outfits. Or maybe they just need to embrace the clowns. Because it seems the Jaguars learned from it for at least one season, they learned from it because hey, they got the clown outfits again. So I don't know. But I hope Jacksonville figures it out. I hope Trevor Lawrence can get saved, and I hope Liam Cohen is the right man for him. I think he is. I think he's the right man for Trevor Lawrence in this situation. But it's a lot easier said than done.
Well, no.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Trayvon
What?
Walker and Brian Thomas Jr.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. When
And I think the thing to note about Walker with him in Jacksonville is he's had back-to-back very good seasons, and he's doing it on a piss poor defense where it's just being run incompetently. So imagine you are able to find better coaching for this defense and make this defense into something respectable. How will Walker do then? Because it's like, for the most part, he's been having to just really do a lot of it by himself. Well, him and Josh Allen.
well, I will say this real quick. As once Trayvon Walker shedded the fact that he was drafted over Aiden Hutchinson, and there was no reason for him to be drafted over Aiden Hutchinson, um, everything went well. But he's going to be a decent pass rusher. You know what he'll be? He'll be Jadeveon Clowney. Like
Hmm.
he's a guy that's good, but he was never going to be as good as to where he was drafted. But going from Jacksonville to another team, could the Las Vegas Raiders get up here, please?
Yes, get up, get up. Don't get arrested again. Don't get arrested.
All
Just
I
get up here.
all, all I have to say is the D student got D's. This is my shocked face. Wow. You find simply put, sometimes the old bike brings in the bitches. But
Also brings in the chewing gum. Now listen, I'm saying this with the Taco Bell that I just acquired from Devontae Adams' former Taco Bell house. Listen, your season was fucked the moment Devontae Adams requested that trade. Because Devontae Adams was arguably the biggest motivator of how Antonio Pierce got that head coaching gig. Him and Max Crosby, for example. But,
you are
but the thing is, once that happened, it just it all went downhill from there. Like after the Browns game, you lost 10 in a row. Some of those games were really funny losses. Some of them were really painful losses. But at the end of the day, they were all losses. And for the Raiders, the thing is, you just need to find a way to compete in the AFC West, which is, of course, easier said than done because it's the AFC frickin' West. But it starts by getting a quarterback, whether that be through the draft. Of course, this isn't the best class, or you find someone to try and be a bridge quarterback that hopefully, can be better than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Because, look, the Raiders are in a rough situation. You got Tom Brady running the show now. Like, there is potential here. Brock Bowers is playing like a generational tight end. That man is incredible, and if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, he'd be Rookie of the Year. So you have Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers had a 1,000-yard season. He had a good season. So Jacoby Myers has done well for you, but there's just the Raiders are frustrating because it feels like the Raiders are playing some of the similar scripts that we have seen them play over the past 20 years, and it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating that it just seems like the Raiders have the potential to maybe get out of this deep hole, but once again, it's easier said than done. And I mean, I warmed up to the Pete Carroll hire. I think it's probably the best hire the Raiders could have made for the current situation. And you hope that he will be able to, elevate this team, get the most out of them, even if, the Raiders aren't going to be a playoff team or anything. You hope that Pete Carroll can get a lot out of them. And I think he can. I really do think he can at least get more out of this team than what, the Raiders have gotten over these years. And obviously, the most important thing at the end of the day is that Max Crosby seems happy enough to stay with the Raiders for the time being, which is always the thing the Raiders have been needing to hear. And you are keeping Patrick Graham as your defensive coordinator, which I think is the best possible scenario for your defensive coordinator job. So the Raiders, there's a lot that needs to be fixed. There's a lot that needs to get done, but it starts with finding a quarterback and also a running back, because we talked about Saquon Barkley and how that affected the Giants. Yeah, you think the Raiders missed Josh Jacobs?
What? No, 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 no. You want to know the fucked up thing?
Amir Abdullah, who was
You
supposed to
want to
be, he was originally the running back 3 on this roster.
you want to know something completely fucked up that I totally see happening?
But
Tennessee takes Travis Hunter. Cleveland takes Cam Ward. The Giants take fucking Mason Graham. New England takes Mitchell. Jaguars take the fucking fuck, god damn it. Jaguars take I don't know, like another DB. And then the Raiders, with the opportunity to select Shadur Sanders, they select Ashton Jeanty. I totally see that happening.
like he would see Marshawn Lynch in him. Oh, it's Jim. Yep, Jim Harbaugh. Yes, please don't go 0-6 against the AFC West next season, even if you only win 4 games again. Just try and win an AFC West game, please.
Well, now that they're back to their seat, could the New York Jets come up on stage? Before anyone else says anything, I'm going to say this now. Look where drugs and playing hooky got you. 5 wins. You did worse than the Bears. Aaron Rodgers was always better than the Bears when he played full in Green Bay. Yet he's on the Jets, and you can't even be better than the Bears. For shame. Simply put, uh, you stopped running the ball, and that's when you lost all hope. Once you let Aaron Rodgers and once you let that devil's cabbage get into your system, all logic went out the door, and you were only focused on getting those short-term highs. Those records for Aaron Rodgers means nothing when at the end of the day, you paid a second-round pick for him to only play 17 games. Well, 18 games, but you blew your knee out last year.
Rodgers happened. That's all you need to know.
Just because you said that, I'm lowering your Madden awareness score by at least 20.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson, that could, just saying those two names would really be enough for this team. It would be enough to describe what went wrong with the Jets, because it really all falls back on those two. I will say this though about the Jets. I do like the Aaron Glenn hire. I think that's a good hire for them. I think that's the right hire for the Jets. And honestly, looking at the coaching staff, it's the right guys to try and save this mess, because yet again, Jets are in a mess that needs to be cleaned up. They are not the only mess at MetLife Stadium, but good lord, is it such a toxic mess at that stadium. Which, for the record, that's a stadium that kind of deserves the toxic shithole football teams that they have gotten, because the Jets and the New York Giants really represent what is really a lackluster multi-billion-dollar stadium that is MetLife Stadium. Both these teams and their success since that stadium opened, and yes, I know the Giants won a Super Bowl during that time, but outside of that, it really represents, what that stadium is, and the New York Jets are a franchise right now that just needs answers. Answers that they have been needing since 2010. And will they get those answers? I don't know. I don't know if they will, but I'm tired of waiting for those answers.
Yeah, the New York Stock Exchange is really fucky.
Mm-hmm. But hey, Aaron Rodgers was more focused on, getting documentaries for Netflix and showing his feet off than trying to make the Jets into a playoff team. Or not even trying, wanting to be a playoff team, because Aaron Rodgers did not care. Like, I think we can all agree on that. He didn't give a shit. Why should he give a shit? He's Aaron Rodgers. He does not give a shit about this, and it really showed this season that the Jets, as a team, looked worse with Aaron Rodgers out there than they did with Zach Wilson. And that's the funniest part of this all. It's it's quite the New York Jets situation. Perfectly fitting for this franchise.
Well, go sit back down, and simply put, I want to pause real quick, and I want to say there is always hope for you guys. There's always hope. And the next person is an example. Normally we go up and chastise teams, but could the Carolina Panthers stand up real quick and come to the stage? We get it. You're with us. We know where you are. But from last year to this year, improvement on every single factor. You almost aced the Big Ten. You kept up with your grades to finish out the rest of the year. And simply put, you look like next year you have the ability to be an upstanding student. I'm unlike Mr. MaskedAura over here. I am not going to chastise you because you know what you did? You exceeded expectations and you did a good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank God Dave Canellis worked. Like, let me say this. I am genuinely happy for Dave Canellis and the Carolina Panthers team. Because if I had to see another season where the Carolina Panthers fired another head coach for like the 50th season in a row, we were going to have problems. Because what the Panthers have needed is just someone to stabilize the ship. Maybe not even save the ship, but just keep it from sinking lower. And since Ron Rivera got fired, we saw how Matt Rule went. That was a disaster. Could have kept Steve Wilkes for another year. He did fine, but you decided to go with Frank Reich. That's an even bigger disaster. And it granted the Bears the #1 pick in the 2024 draft. So, you bring in Dave Canellis, who has very low expectations because Panthers fans are just praying to God that they don't have to wake up next season to see that they are on another new head coach. And thankfully for them, they're not in that reality. And a lot of credit needs to be given to Dave Canellis. He did a very strong job in his first season. And, Bryce Young, after how bad things started, that Saints game in week 1, an absolute disaster. And in the Chargers game afterwards, it's like, Bryce Young was really, 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 really looking like someone that was going to get called a bust. But he takes time off. He gets time to recuperate, rest, and, sit on the bench and see, learn and all that and do what he has to do to come back and be better. And once he got that opportunity, he took full advantage of it. And with Bryce Young, I'm very happy for him. I'm happy for a lot of players on Carolina Panthers. And the fact of the matter is, they went 5-12, but let's not lie. They were a really respectable 5-12. Like, they are a much better 5-12 team than a certain other 5-12 team in the NFC South. But we'll get to them in a bit. The Carolina Panthers had a lot go right this season, and there is genuine hopium with this franchise, which hasn't been felt in a long time. There is just one slight downside with the Carolina Panthers that maybe calling it slight is doing a disservice to it. That defense. You set an NFL record for the most points allowed in a season. What the hell? Like, I get that Derek Brown was out for the season. You lost him in, week 1, which really only made a horrible game much worse. You also lost Shaq Thompson. I know your defense was injured, but come on. That is the only reason you did not completely ace this test. That's the only thing holding you back. And yeah, there's parts of it that isn't your fault, but Like, oh god, like that defense is just horrible. Like, if the Carolina Panthers had a better defense, there's a genuine shot, a genuine chance this team could have won the division, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Luke. Mhm. Oh, former, former lovable losers. But you know how I said about, Dave Canellis, like, Panthers fans are just very thankful they're not having to go into another season with a new head coach. I think the same applies to not having to think about getting a new quarterback with Bryce Young, because Bryce Young picked a great draft class to get his shit together. Because, God, could you imagine if Bryce Young was like, he played like he did in those first 2 weeks, but he did it all season? Imagine just the turmoil the Panthers would be in right now, because you would still have these issues, but you would also have to be worrying about quarterback, and you're having to pick from a weak class. Thankfully, you're not having to do that because Bryce Young is figuring things out. And for the Panthers, like even as a Bears fan, I'm supposed to be rooting for Carolina to struggle. I'm happy for the Panthers and like the players and the coaching staff. Like the fact of the matter is, they're showing promise. They're showing potential. Like they're a 5-12 team, but they were a fun 5-12 team. They were a 5-12 team that showed they showed a team that down the line can seriously become a playoff team with the right improvements. And that is something that can't be said for this next 5-12 team.
Simply put, Carolina, you get to grab a soda from the fridge on the way out today. Well, moving on to your twin brother that had no expectations. Will the Saints come up to the stand real quick? You know what? You got rid of Dennis Allen. Congratulations. This season was a victory, even though you didn't make the playoffs. Other than that, you had one of the most forgettable seasons of all time.
Now, I think there's like regarding the Saints, there's not much outside of like Dennis Allen, like injuries and all that, and Derek Carr is probably done with the Saints. Like outside of that, there's not much to really use from the 2024 season that I'm really interested in talking about the Saints. What I'm really interested in talking about the Saints and their report card is the fact that, listen, unless you've been sleeping under a rock these past couple of weeks, you are well aware of the fact that nobody wants the Saints head coaching job. Absolutely nobody wants this job. The Saints are flat out on their knees begging someone to take their job. They are just pleading, please, somebody want me. Somebody save me. And everyone just looks at them like a homeless person. I remember hearing how one of the big reasons Aaron Glenn chose the Jets over the New Orleans Saints is he didn't want to work with Mickey Loomis. He didn't like what Mickey Loomis was doing, and that's why he picked the New York Jets over the Saints, which, like, I want the Saints to realize this. Not only has Mike McCarthy rejected you, but you are literally the New York Jets are seen as a more attractive job to these coaches than you are. The New York Jets, coming off the Aaron Rodgers experiment, they are seen as more attractive than you. Like, what does that say about the New Orleans Saints? If you are someone working in the Saints organization right now, like, you just have to be sitting here like, well, what the fuck are we doing?
Simply put, Mickey Loomis is a war criminal and should be charged for his crimes fittingly.
Hey, Luke, you're not muted, are you?
Yeah.
Luke?
Oh no.
I forgot. No, they could hear you. I forgot to unmute myself in OBS again.
Oh
Oh
my
my god.
god.
They heard you. They heard you. Um. They heard all the points that you said about they heard all your points. I forgot to unmute myself in OBS again. I'm so sorry.
Oh
The
my
whole
god.
stream?
Yeah,
Yes.
the whole stream.
Oh
just
my
for,
God.
Just for me. Just for me. Just for me. Just for me.
I know it's just for you, but oh my god.
This is a simply put a classic Luke.
Classic Luke.
This is a certified untitled Sickos moment.
This is, hey, in my defense, it's been a while since I did it.
That is true.
That
However,
should
it is still an untitled Sickos moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
Long story short, let's summarize. Let's lightning fast Luke's points here. This draft class has no certified number one, so the Raiders and Giants may get the quarterback they were taking for to begin with. Nobody wants to work with Mickey Loomis. The Jets are running it too much like Madden. Those are all the points that I said, essentially. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to fucking unmute myself in OBS. So,
Oh.
I'm sorry, guys. They heard you the entire time. But,
Yeah, it's just, once again, a certified untitled Sickos classic.
It is an
This
classic.
is why Unk is no longer allowed to go into the candy store anymore because he forgets where he is.
Mm-hmm. I am Unk IRL. Thank God Spencer's not here.
Yeah, be thankful for that. Be very
Thank
thankful.
God Spencer's not here. He would be like, God damn it, Lucas. You and your fucking old Unk ass forgetting shit all the time. It's okay. I mean, at least it's different than Windows fucking updating and it resets all my sound settings and I don't know what they are until I completely forget what they are until we start. But haha, whoopsie. Yeah.
Simply put, Luke, come up to the stage. Come up to the stage, please. It's time for your.
Hey, look,
It's time
I
for
will
you.
proudly take my F. F stands for fucking dipshit, and that's what I am.
Congratulations. Here you go. Now, please go back to your cave where no one ever has to see you again.
Good. I hate interacting with people.
You're literally interacting with people right now.
Shit, you're right.
Hey, you host a podcast.
You're right, chat. You're so right. Yeah. Outside of that, no one wants to work with Mickey Loomis. But the difference between the Saints and the Jaguars is the Saints can't fire Mickey Loomis, whereas the Jaguars realized their mistake and fired Trent Baalke.
I don't think it's they realized their mistake. They realized that they couldn't keep Bulky if they wanted a new coach.
Yeah, it's not that they wanted to, it's that they were forced to. I mean, they still realized it. They still realized their mistake, but it wasn't because they wanted to realize that mistake. They had to realize it.
I mean, until the Saints do realize that the mistake is Mickey Loomis, they're going to be stuck in the hell that they are, and, yeah. They're going to be stuck in the hell.
I will say, though, this is just my recommendation, because the Saints need someone to save them, and maybe the 2026 draft class could help. You need a tank commander. You need this team needs a tank commander. I am telling you, and I'm quoting what Bearman has said before. Saints need to hire Mike Kafka as their next head coach. I want to see that.
They need I agree. Well, I mean, to be fair, their next coach might be Kellen Moore, which that's the perfect tank commander in all honesty.
Listen,
If he works out, it's a good hire.
Mike Kafka's had years with that man's worked with the New York Giants. He knows what bad teams look like, and he's bald too. He's a perfect tank commander. Like, I just find it really funny, though, that, like, I've seen the jokes about Mike Kafka getting head coaching interviews, and the fact that he actually has a shot at getting a head coaching job is just hilarious.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, next year's good. The only good thing that can help the Saints is next year's quarterback class is much better than this year's. I mean, it's better. I don't know how
It's
much
better.
but it's better.
Yeah, just if you're the Saints, you're just hoping for this upcoming season to go by fast because it's looking like a tank year.
The only thing that I would say, hey, look, good news! Archie Manning, he's gonna be available to draft.
Yes, the story writes itself. The story must be finished.
But he might want 2 years of starting. He might need to start for 2 years at Texas. That's the only downside, is he's just not ready yet. He's eligible, but I think he may want to. It just, again, armchair person. You might want to start for a year or two before you go and.
You'll get drafted first overall off name value alone.
Absolutely, right? He is the first overall player, but like, you're gonna need time. Steve Sarkisian runs a NFL style offense. You're gonna make a shitload of money in college.
Listen, you mentioned that. He's got Red Bull sponsorship.
He just signed the biggest sponsorship in all of college sports. So, he'll be able to make a lot of money to where he doesn't have to rush himself to the NFL level. Right? And he's going to be really fucking good for Texas next year. So, this in the time frame you do have, get yourself under the cap, don't sign anything stupid, play Derek Carr for one more year, and absolutely shit the bed for the next 2 years. So,
they could just hire Urban Meyer. That way they're confirmed to get the first overall pick again.
Oh,
Rude.
God. Urban Meyer was an NFL
Or hey,
coach.
I heard Adam Gase is available.
To be fair, they're interested in Kellen Moore, and I think that's just perfect already on its own. The script writes itself, and it sounds like they're forced to take what they can get instead of actually going and looking for what they want. The day Mickey Loomis does get fired is a day I think they're gonna celebrate. So,
It will be a day of celebration.
Until that, you're waiting for your owner to die. To be as positive as I can. And until that happens, or you're waiting for them to sell. They're not going to sell yet, but the fact that Mickey Loomis apparently has a stake in this team. LMAO, enjoy the bottom of the sea. Until then, return to your seats and we'll see you here next year.
Well, after the Saints, we have, the Chicago Bears, which get up stage. We're not going to rib into you. Simply put, you thought that things would work out and they didn't. But you want to know something? You showed a lot of improvement and a lot of guts. You have potential, kid. Please tap into that potential.
Their future looks really bright, and if it takes to be, my only thing I will say to Ben Johnson, finish games! That's been the Bears' struggle for the past 2 seasons. The inability to finish close games. That has been the Bears' kryptonite for their entire lifespan. Outside of just straight up embarrassing finishes. The thing is, as much as the NFL stupids out there want to go, hey, kid, look at how much better Jalen Daniels is in. GG or diff. Caleb Williams is going to have a really good breakout season. I think Romo Duzny is going to really like Ben Johnson. And I think there's a genuine shot that the Bears could get Ashton Jeanty on top of that, too. Genuine shot. We'll see how this
Genuine
draft
shot
goes.
indeed.
Mm-hmm. I think if, as bright as the future is, I just want all Bears fans to say, here's your goal. 500. That's it.
Yeah. Like, get 9 wins, have a positive record. That's what I want right now. I want to be respectable. I want to be considered a respectable football team. Because my hope right now with the Bears is Ben Johnson, please save us. Will that happen? Of course, that remains to be seen. But I like what we've done so far. I like what we've done this offseason. Lots of moves that have needed to be made are getting made. A lot more that need to be made that hopefully can be made, but that's down the line. And that will be in free agency and the draft. But I like what we're doing. I'm hopeful that the fact that the Bears, we're 5-12, but they were a 5-12 team that lost because of dumbass coaching. And we lost many close games in just historically frustrating fashion. Some of those games happening on back-to-back weeks. But I'm just hopeful that with the right coaching staff, with improvements on the line, with some, just better coaching in general, the Bears can take the good vibes and they can use it to their advantage. Because all I want from this team is a winning record. That's all I ask for. Even if we don't make the playoffs next year, I just want a winning record. And if the Bears can do that, I will be satisfied. But that, of course, is a wait and see.
Yeah. I hope Bears... This is just for all the Bears fans out there. You need to walk before you can run. And for a lot of seasons... It's like, that Megamind meme? There's like, what's the difference between you and me? And it goes, presentation. Mm-hmm. Just replace presentation with expectations. I think the Bears will be fine. You nailed the hire. Save Caleb Williams,
No,
please.
the fact of the matter is Ben Johnson wanted to come here. It's not like we were like his second option or something. He was, I want to be a Bear from frame one.
My only one warning that I will give to that is I want to go back to what I call the Hugh Jackson theorem. And the Hugh Jackson theorem was, in a way, everybody always wants to be the coach that saves an organization. Everybody wants to be the coach that saves the organization. And I think with Ben Johnson, seeing the success that Dan Campbell had with the Lions and being the guy that turned around an eternally bad organization around, Dan Campbell's always going to be known as the guy that saved the Lions. And if Ben Johnson, he looks at the Bears and goes, I want to be that. And what it's going to come down to is on the field, right? And my warning to that is, to Ben Johnson, is it's great that I love the story that everybody wants to be the guy that saves an organization. Now go do it. It's much easier said than done. And I'm really happy that Ben Johnson Cowboys was his number one destination, and it seemed that it was meant to happen no matter what. And I can't wait to see what this team does next year. Good luck. Good luck to the Bears.
I do want to just say to that, because I agree with what you are saying on that. There is just something that is worth adding to, talking about like how, like Hugh Jackson or like other coaches that take these jobs and they want to save this franchise because it's a glorious opportunity and it's an opportunity that doesn't come for everyone. So when you get the chance to try and save a franchise, you're going to take that because we've seen it before. Head coaching candidates often can be one and dones when it comes to being candidates. But with Ben Johnson, I think the extra thing to note is that Ben Johnson has been rumored to be a head coach in the NFL going back to the offseason after the 2022 season. Like, teams like the Bears in their situation had been calling Ben Johnson for years. For years, they had been calling him and wanting him to be their head coach, to try and have him save their franchise. And the fact of the matter is, Ben Johnson didn't take those jobs because he liked what he had in Detroit, and he felt that the situation in Detroit was better than what it would be with, insert team that's, not exactly good. And this also happened after 2023. And, that was honestly even more surprising than 2022 because it's like, well, it's probably time for Ben to get his job. And nope, he decides to stay in Detroit for one more year. So the fact that, after 2024, the offseason comes, and the fact that the Bears were his first option, they had always been his first option for him to be a head coach for. After all these years, he finally makes his decision, and he picks the Chicago Bears. I think that says a lot. And regardless of how that goes, how this tenure goes, I'm very happy that this is how it went. The fact that someone wants to be our head coach and someone as highly touted as a potential very good head coach in Ben Johnson, he wants to be our head coach, that makes me extremely happy.
I'm
Well,
excited to see what the Bears can do. I really am.
after the Bears, we were supposed to talk about the 49ers, but unfortunately, they are currently in the hospital due to an injury they suffered. Thankfully, we got them on Zoom call.
I think much as the Niners, it is you're hot and then you're cold, you're yes then you're no, you're hurt and you're not hurt. Something, your window slammed closed, have fun paying Brock Purdy $60 million per year. That's the best they can do for the Niners, and it couldn't have happened to a more it couldn't have happened to a deserved organization like the San Francisco 49ers. If you guys don't know, I hate this team. They are my rival. To see them have bad outcome makes me smile makes me have a giant grin from side to side. Deserved. Yeah. Man, I'm feasting on the fact that this core is aging for another year. The fact that Deebo Samuel looks like he's lost his step. Now you're just overpaying 2 wide receivers instead of 1. It's 2 for the price of 1! And, man, I'm enjoying this team's downfall from grace. I've enjoyed it for so much. This team thinks that they're gonna be so good. Oh, no you're not. We're both about to be in the same boat where the fucking Rams are about to own our fucking asses. So, you know what? I'm happy that the Niners can go back into the fucking abyss that they crawl in. And I can't wait for the day where Kyle Shanahan gets sent to a much deserving org.
Yeah, and then goes on the Andy Reid Chiefs arc. But while you are laughing at the Niners in their laughing at them in their hospital bed, if I had to sum up the Niners injuries, I'm seriously wondering if the Niners have fired their strength and conditioning head coach, because if there's any time to finally get rid of him, this would be the season for that, because Jesus Christ, it just keeps happening to them. every couple of years. Granted, they got lucky in 2023, but every couple of years the Niners just have horrible injuries, and it just spreads like a plague. And also, the other thing to say about the Niners is yeah, so Nick Sorensen sucked. He really sucked as defensive coordinator, didn't he?
I didn't think it was so bad. They could have signed me to a 10-year, $1 billion extension.
Yeah. Listen, we were so close to having Brandon Staley be their defensive coordinator. We were so close.
Yeah.
Well, simply put, get well soon.
Or
Till
don't, I
then,
don't care.
LOL. Up next, say the line, Bart. All in.
My ass.
My ass. That's all I need to say.
My ass. We're
That's
moving
all
on.
we need to say.
Untitled Cowboys project out soon. You hired Brian Schottenheimer and I laughed at you guys for 10 minutes straight. Jerry Jones, in summary, Jerry Jones loves to play the drama of it for so long. Oh, the drama. Oh, people will eat it up. And then you literally played yourselves to the extreme point where now you're like, oh, fuck, who do we make our next host? I don't know. I guess it's Brian Schottenheimer. Cool. Next,
you
go.
picked the most-
Here's your app. We'll see you next year. Enjoy becoming the new Raiders.
Yeah, congratulations. You picked the most boring. You picked the most boring option possible. This drama fucking sucks. I hope it gets canceled.
Well, after the Mr. Ass, the Miami Dolphins. You really love running in headfirst into everything, do you?
That says something too. I mean,
Talk about listen, I'm sure listen, you love running into things, you love beating up things, you love kicking things. I mean, listen, also you love getting arrested if Tyreek Hill says anything.
Speaking of which, Tyreek Hill probably isn't gonna be here next year. He wants out.
The fact that Tyreek Hill wants nothing to do with them is just it speaks volumes. It speaks fucking volumes. I'm surprised that Mike McDonald is still your coach.
But yeah.
Tua's ceiling isn't as high as we all thought it is. I think he's hit his ceiling. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I think your team's kind of stuck with Tua. Really doesn't elevate your roster. You can't win in cold weather. You have your greatest advantage to your stadium expires in November? So if you can't take advantage of that, then you're kind of just done.
It's just with the Dolphins, they really, it's not even just with Tua. They seriously need to get an actual backup in there because Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson just isn't going to get the job done. You need to have a second option ready. And I know backup quarterbacks aren't expected to come in, but in the Dolphins situation, you need someone to be ready because it sucks to say this about someone like Tua, but with his injuries, he's a ticking time bomb. It sucks to say about anyone, but it's true. And it keeps biting the Dolphins in the ass. And the fact of the matter is, it really showed that the Dolphins were just completely unprepared for that scenario happening again. And granted, there is talent on the Dolphins, but it feels like the Dolphins are stuck in being painfully mediocre. And the thing is, I get why McDaniel is getting a fourth season. I can understand that. I feel like the Dolphins, though, in Mike McDaniel's case, he really needs to bring a play caller in there. I think he needs to focus more on coaching the team and get an actual play caller in there because it is clear as hell that coaching and play calling is not suited for him, and it's not suited for this Dolphins team. I mean, the defense wasn't that bad. I mean, it really does say something though that Dolphins players were bitching about. Well, the Dolphins defensive players were bitching about Vic Fangio and calling him an asshole, and now Vic Fangio is in the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Really says a lot now, doesn't it? But my main issue with the Dolphins is not anyone on the coaching staff. It's the front office. Because I have to say, I have to ask Stephen Ross this question. How the hell does Chris Greer still have a job? He has been your general manager since 2016, and he has been here through 3 head coaches. All of them who probably aren't gonna last that long. And the fact of the matter is, he's been here since 2016. He's gonna be entering his 10th season as general manager. And you know how many playoff games the Dolphins have won in the 9 seasons previous? 0! You have won 0 playoff games with Chris Greer as your manager. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think that's going to change. So the fact that you're keeping him for another season, I can at least understand McDaniel saying, why are you keeping this man when you have seen time and time again he doesn't know what he's doing? The fact that the same problems persist with Miami after all these years of pointing out that they're kind of soft on the interior, especially with the O-line, and the fact that it still hasn't gotten fixed, it's just, how does he still have a job? It's beyond me.
I mean, this team, it feels like they need a fresh slate of paint, but it feels like they're also so close to just breaking out of the mold.
It's frustratingly mediocre.
I'm just frustrated with this entire team. This is just, it's bad. It's bad.
Like, it's annoying, and it's not even in the funny way of being annoying. It just pisses you off.
You're just boring.
Just go away. Like, please don't hit your head again on the way out, but go away. We don't want to see you again.
Give Tua a guardian cap, please. Followed by, playing cold weather, you soft wimps.
Get out of my sight. Anywho, I think it's time for the most egregious team. Will the Indianapolis Colts get up?
You know, I'll take it. You got this thing. You got this. Oh, let's go.
It's one thing that you lose to some good teams. You lost to Houston. You lost to Green Bay. You lost to Minnesota. You lost to Houston. It's whatever. How in the fuck do you lose to the New York Giants? How? And I don't want to, but no, I wanted how. How did you? Until I get that answer, you are forever going to be put up on the funny pages forever. We still have that loss pinned up in the fucking pin board. You are the biggest kind of disappointing. You are the, oh, we thought this team was going to be legit, but no, they actually aren't, kind of disappointing. You make me sick.
It's remember, that score is pinned in the office for everyone to laugh at. All the teachers get to laugh at you for the entire season and beyond because, simply put, you lost to the New York Giants. And not only did you lose to them, you let the Giants score 45 points in a game that you needed to win to save your season. You do that. And this isn't even the first time that, this isn't even the first time you've had a horrible loss like this in the 2020s. But the fact of the matter is, you didn't learn from it. You clearly didn't learn from 2021. And here you are again in a similar situation with a frustrating situation, a frustrating roster, and a coaching staff that feels very frustrating. Like, the fact is, you made the right move firing Gus Bradley. Bradley's just washed as hell. You made the right move doing that because that Colts defense was just, it's not going to get the job done. Now, my issue is you hire Lou Anarumo. And look, I get that Lou Anarumo had some great years with the Bengals. You know what else he had with the Bengals? The 2024 season. And that defense was an absolute disaster. And it really feels like Shane Steichen is putting all his worth into two things. Can Lou Anarumo find that previous form and make the Colts defense into a formidable defense? And can Anthony Richardson figure things out? Because if one of those two things don't happen, then there's a good chance that Shane is going to be looking at an offensive coordinator job come 2026.
One thing that I want to know, can you guys figure shit out? I mean, as much as I like joking about you guys snorting Cheeto dust every single time, the joke is getting old. No, it's not getting old. Keep being bad because there's only so much fucking Cheeto dust that I could snort before I die. And you're waiting for your owner to over OD on some stuff. So have you tried Fent Maxing?
Oh, God.
Other than that, you suck, Colts. Richardson has this sky-high ceiling, but it feels like he can't get out of his own damn way. And, aside of everything, I just hope you guys do figure it out. I want you guys to win games and whatnot, but you guys can't, And I'm honestly sick and tired of waiting for these Colts to figure it out. But your owner's just such a decrepit, senile old man.
Yeah, because notice how we didn't say Chris Bauer's name yet. Because for as incompetent as he may be, I don't think he's getting fired anytime soon.
He gave him the good stuff. He gave him that good Bolivian marching powder. And then you saw how he had to literally be carted out because he knew what the plan was. I'm going to get my owner so high on drugs that he's going to be like, I'm going to, Chris Ballard, I'm never going to fire you. You know that, right? I'm not going to fire you. Your hair looks so lovely. Take me away. We saw him in that fucking wheelchair, man.
Okay, it works. It keeps on working.
Mm-hmm. He knows the good shit. And you know what? He keeps his drinking buddies around. And the people that he can get him some good old-fashioned disco dust. So, yeah. I guess that's something that's just not going to be changing.
More annoyance. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, they did make Horsecock Lodge into Tan Marino 2.0.
Oh, they did. They did. They did. They did.
Well,
I expect to see you here, Dolts, next year.
Up next, Falcons. Congratulations. You made the Michael Penix drafting look a lot better than it should have been. I'm whelmed by your season this year. You existed.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, with Kirk Cousins being a whiff being the real whiff. If you have to pick between Kirk Cousins whiffing or Penix whiffing, I think you're really happy that Penix looks to be a success. Now, can he maintain that is a $1 million question.
Yeah, just a damn shame that Penix couldn't play defense.
Damn shame indeed.
Like, I mean, I will just say this though. The last time football team had Jimmy Lake get fired off their coaching staff. The last time that happened, and Michael Penix Jr. took over as the main starting quarterback the following season, things went pretty well for that football team. So hopefully for the Falcons, history can repeat itself.
I do hope so as well. I mean, your future is brighter than normal.
Yeah, bright on offense. Defense is still it's a massive construction zone. Let's call it that.
It is a good thing, so we'll see what happens. I mean, Falcons look good enough. I mean, we'll have to see what happens, in all honesty. But if this team does whiff, LMFAO. The legacy of failure only grows and grows and grows.
Yes. Speaking of legacies of failures only growing, our next team can suffer in similar fate to their bird brothers.
Bengals? It's the Bengals and the Seahawks, right?
Yep, but before that, we have
the Bungles. I can summarize...
No. Wait, hold on. We skipped Arizona.
Oh,
we skipped Arizona.
Right. Oh, right. The Cardinals.
I mean, if we skip them, are you really talking about anything? You had the most forgettable season in the NFL. This isn't even a footnote on your repertoire. You existed another year and wasted another year of Kyler Murray.
I don't even think wasting Kyler Murray's the right word here. I don't think Kyler Murray's the guy.
You know, this season, listen, it really says something that Murray's best highlight was probably him headshotting a player causing a game-ending interception, that's probably the most notable thing about the Cardinals this season. Kyler Murray headshotting someone.
I think Call of Duty boy has it in him.
I think if there's anything to say about the Cardinals, I think Gannon's done a fine job. I think the coaching staff is fine. I think there's a talented enough roster here for Kyler to work with. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a big second season because he did put up identical numbers to what his father put up in his rookie season. So it'll be fine, but this really feels like a make or break season for Kyler Murray in Arizona. Like, it really does.
100%. 100%. Cause like, I really felt like, to me, I'm selling probably about half my stock on Kyler Murray. I felt like he really needed, like, one game. Like, he needed to beat Seattle at least once to really prove something. He really needed to just have that really good, convincing win. Late into the season. I did not see it. I'm not convinced on the Cardinals. As far as I know, they're just the team that's the same stale narratives that are there, except the fact that Kyler Murray isn't the guy. Like, at all.
And you know, you say that about the Seahawks game. I mean, I've mentioned the headshot, but the fact of the matter is, if the Cardinals had beaten the Rams that week, listen, things probably would have been different if the Rams would not have rested their starters the following week. But the Rams, if they had lost that game, the Cardinals would win the Actually, wait. Actually, no, I don't think they
would have
would
been
have.
Seattle if
It
Seattle
would,
won.
okay, yeah, no, it would have been Seattle. So yeah, count the Seattle games as well, because yeah, Seattle still would have won the division regardless. But the Seattle games really do paint a good picture as the fact that, Kyler Murray, like the Cardinals had a lot of momentum going into those Seahawks games. Like they were 6-4. They had back-to-back just convincing wins over the Bears and the Jets, just beat them in dominant fashion. They looked like, hey, this could seriously be a playoff team. And then the Seahawks game happens, doesn't go well, then they lose a heartbreaker to the Vikings, and then another Seahawks game happens, and they don't recover from it. That's basically what happened.
To me, it's... In order for me to be really convinced that Kyler Murray is the guy, he had to have beaten the Seahawks at least once. He's never been able to beat Seattle, right? And he's looked ugly in every single game. I don't know how much patience the Cardinals are going to have left in Kyler Murray. It's more of like the same story that Kyler has. We've seen Kyler throughout the years, and it's just... How much is... when is enough to the point where, my patience is just running out with this team in general, and...
Yeah. That's why I say 2025 is make or break. Mm-hmm. Make or break for Kyler.
100%.
But anyways, now it's time for the funny team from the jungle.
I can summarize this in one sentence. Get a new owner. That's all that needs to be said. You need to get a new owner, yesterday. Your owner is holding you back. It is holding your entire team back. You're held back by your owner. Joe Burrow had statistically one of the best seasons. And I mean, to me, at the end of the day, with stats, I'm so mixed on with stats. With stats, stats are the nice thing about the sports world. But the thing is, you have an elite pass rusher, one A-tier wide receiver, one A+ tier wide receiver, and you're gonna let two of them walk in free agency.
I'll let one of them walk. I think Jamar's coming back.
Jamar Chase is coming back on a franchise tag. They're gonna tag Jamar Chase.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're not bringing... Jamar Chase is gonna get franchise tagged. To me, the definition of bringing someone back is you sign him to an extension. Neither is coming. He's brought back on a tag. You're letting your incredible, talented group of players walk that you've drafted and developed. What the fuck are you doing? You have the statement. All this is the one counter to the Kansas City Chiefs is the Cincinnati Bengals, and their owner is such a decrepit, depressing piece of crap. To where
indoor practice facility. I hadn't had one for the longest time.
You need a new owner before you guys are going to do anything worth mentioning. Zach Taylor's not going anywhere. Period.
I mean, if there's any solace, I will say the only positive about the Bengals offseason as of right now is you did get rid of Lou Anarumo. That needed to happen. Much as you probably should have gotten rid of Taylor as well. At the very least, you got rid of, the main symptom or the biggest problem with the Bengals this season was that defense was just war crime after war crime out there. Because I think for me, the biggest stat that tells me the whole story about Joe Burrow this season is how against the Ravens this year, Joe Burrow had 820 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 2 games against the Ravens this season. You know what his record was against the Ravens? 0-2. I know, obviously, stats aren't the all, mighty thing at the end of the day. They're not the only thing to look at, when you're looking and observing football players. But at the end of the day, all you had to do watch a couple of Bengals games to know that Joe Burrow got absolutely wasted this season. Like, it is an absolute war crime how the Bengals just completely wasted him this year. Him and Chase. And Hendrickson.
It's a shame. I can't believe
Yes.
I thought that Super
What a
Bowl
shame.
loss was the thing of things to change, but I guess things just stayed the same.
More things change, the more things stay the same.
I mean, I hope for the Bengals. I really want them to be good because they could be a top dog. But, I mean, your owner is like, nah. They don't take risks.
He doesn't really feel like it.
They don't retain good players. And if we can all be mad at the NFL for it, we should be all mad at the Bengals for not doing anything to keep talented guys around. So,
Yeah, it's your fault that the Chiefs make the Super Bowl every year. We blame you. You suck. Please sell the team.
exactly. I really do hope the Bengals can sell the team. Or if anything, can you trade Joe Burrow because he makes too much money? Just somewhere. I don't care.
Yes, let him play for an organization that wants to win a Super Bowl.
It's certainly not them.
Yeah, now actually would have been a good time for you to make a paraphrase of your Trevor Lawrence Seahawks joke.
No. No. You can't
Actually,
trade
yes.
lunch pails, Luke.
Please.
Guess who's next? Guess who's last on
Oh,
the
God.
Alright, anyways, time for the Seahawks. Mike McDonald had a good year. As much as it sucks that we didn't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world. The big question is, what do we do with DK Metcalf? I think the big question is, I mean, we're over the cap. The answer is very simple. Tyler Lockett's going to get cut. I think there's a couple. I think Boye Mafe is going to get cut. Nwasu's going to get cut. Boom. Problem solved. They're going to be looking at a draft. If they had a really good O-line, I think things are going to finish a lot better than they do. Given how, kind of what's needed on this team. JSN breakout season, positive. Firing Ryan Grube. I mean, I get it. I think he's really suited for college. He's really suited more for college where the current meta, where college is, it's more of you're facing a specific style of offense on a given week, and you could be a very aggressive pass-heavy offense, and you'll do just fine. The NFL meta, it's shifting to short passing and running. Grube's philosophy didn't fit that manifold. It's more on deep passes, and the fact that when running the ball was working, it was working when we used it. Surprise, surprise, but this team fell behind too quickly, and now they're kinda. The only thing they really needed this offseason is hire Ernest Jones. They did really good with their OC hire, somebody who would love to run the ball. And K9 and Zach Charbonnet are going to be feasting. And that's
this is where Spencer would say something along the lines of, for any fantasy owners next year, draft K9 and Zach Charbonnet.
I mean, here's the thing, like, Zach Charbonnet was like kind of like the redhead stepchild. But when K9 got hurt, he stepped in and did a good job. He's able, like, if we're using K9 as like the main running back, but like Zach's gonna be the guy that can be a flex where we can pass it to him and hand it off to him. That's like, as an OC, you're going to absolutely love that. That should help this team, and I hope it helps Gino. But I mean, if this team can draft a quarterback that with an unfavorable dice roll, we can do that too. Do they extend Geno? He's got to prove it, man. He's gonna prove it before they were to extend Geno, and I think this would be the perfect time for Seattle to take a risk and see what they can do. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it may not be this year, but I think next year's the move where they do make, and even then, Sam Darnold's available.
True.
If you want to knock on that door to see what you can get. The most horrific nightmares that I will have trouble sleeping if Sam Darnold goes to the fucking Rams, because that's the one place where I could see Darnold blossom into the starter, that he could continue his luminosity run, and it won't end. But seeing him in a Rams uniform, I'm not sleeping at night, man. I'm not going to be sleeping at night if that's the case.
But yeah. So the Seattle Seahawks, it was definitely an up and down season for them. But I feel like I did really like the job that Mike McDonald did as head coach. I think he did a strong job. I think you really did see the growth on the defensive side of the ball after the bye week, because it felt like before the bye week the Seahawks defense really felt like they were trying to learn the McDonald system, and it was definitely taking a while for that to happen. Like, I know it's definitely a bit, at least I remember you saying like it was a bit complicated for them at the time, but it felt like after the bye week and using that time to figure things out, it really took multiple strides forward, and that's great to see for the Seahawks.
What's the key thing that happened? They overhauled their linebacker core in the middle of the season, because in Mike McDonald's defensive philosophy, if you're not going to make the tackles for him, you're not going to be playing for the team. And getting Ernest Jones was the man that saved the defense. They overhauled the linebacking core, and it worked.
Yeah.
That's the big move that changed the defense overnight.
Yeah, and it was a good change for sure. So the big thing with the Seahawks going forward, like the question is, what happens with Geno? How does the offense look? Because it feels like there could be changes. Looks like there's going to be changes coming to the receiving core this offseason. Like Lockett's the obvious one. Will be interesting to see what happens with DK Metcalf, especially given it felt like this season, like JSN really felt like he was taking that wide receiver one mantle from DK Metcalf. That's it, or at least how it felt to me. Like, it really feels like JSN is becoming the guy in that receiving core compared to how it would usually be DK Metcalf being the guy. But that's just how I see it.
Yeah, no, I do see it too. Like, the thing with DK is, I wouldn't be surprised if both were moved off of in the offseason. If they moved off of both of them. DK has a big attitude problem that a lot of teams exploit. Like, it is the most exploitable person on this team. Like, he's exploited every single time he goes under center. Like, he knows what to do, how to exploit his emotions. He seems like a chill guy on the surface, but like, he's a diva, and what have we learned? You can move off of a diva and be fine. And I wouldn't be surprised if DK Metcalf is not on the team next year. Teams are interested in trading him away, and if we get a first, we'll take it. I can take a first for DK. I don't think he's worth a first. I think he's worth like a third, right? I think Seattle's really overvaluing his deal. But, I mean, he's got 1 year left. You'll see what teams are willing to give. If they can, then he is, but, like, it's more of a different style of meltdowns that he has. But the Niners know how to exploit it every time. Division rivals know how to exploit it every single time. So, he's a hothead at the end of the day, and I mean, we'll see what they do at the end of this off season, and I can't wait to give I can already give you how many games they're gonna win again, 9 or 10, and we'll see. I'm either in a playoff spot with the 7th seed, or back here in the principal's office being the last team.
Yeah, because, like, I feel like, you mentioned what you said about DK and how he has those anger problems. And, like, I feel like, especially with, like, a coaching, like a head coach like Mike McDonald, who has already shown with the moves he's made this offseason that he is a very cutthroat head coach. Like, that man will make moves that other head coaches would probably be very hesitant to make. And I think that also applies to the roster and probably, the things he would probably tell John, who's, like John Schneider with the, who's GM and all that. I feel like DK Metcalf, given his attitude problems, that could be something where it's like, they've probably been looking at that and it's like, yeah, we know he's talented, we know what he's capable of, but we don't want to be dealing with this. Like, we don't want to have this always keep being an issue, moving on into our, into this current era of the Seahawks. And if we can get a good return for him, we're more than willing to make the trade.
Exactly. Like, it's one of those things, and if one of the things that I've learned when watching football for so long, it's best to move off the diva wide receivers. It's best. As much as Tyler Lockett has really mentored DK Metcalf over these years, DK's too much of a hothead. He just wants the ball. At the end of the day, he's not a team player.
Yeah, and I just saw Justo say, I feel like Metcalf is just Pickens, but with less meltdowns.
Yeah, my response to that was no, it's a different type of meltdown that he has.
Ah.
It's just a different type of meltdown he has, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day... they gotta figure it out. So, yeah. We'll see. And for all these teams, I mean, odds are we're not seeing, 7 of you again?
Maybe.
The average turnover of teams that make the playoffs one year that don't make. So we will be seeing at least 6 or 7 of you. To those, good luck. So, yeah. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Not much else to add. All I can say to these teams is, remember the golden rule. Don't get eliminated.
That is a very good golden rule. And next week, we'll take a look back at our predictions and preview the Super Bowl. And we'll see you then, and may you all enjoy the fucking Pro Bowl. Till then, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Peace.